I'm back. We're looking at question number 3. So just reading this question out, Mrs. Sushams and Amatullah go berry picking, and I pick 3/10 of a bucket of berries. Oh, not working too hard. Mrs. Amatullah picks 1/6 of a bucket of berries. I think she might have eaten a few as well. What fraction did they pick all together? So obviously we're going to add mine and Mrs. Amatullah's buckets together and see what fraction we get. Now, first thing we need to do is pick a lowest common denominator for 10 and 6. And the first and easiest way to do that is obviously to times those two numbers together, and you get 60, obviously. Now, there is a number smaller than 60 that you can use to do this. So if you go up in your 6 times tables, you'll realise that 5 times 6 is 30, okay? And 3 times 10 is 30. So that's a lower number that we could both use for both, okay? So what we needed to times this group by to get the 30 was 3. And what we needed to times this group by to get the 30 was 5. Okay, so let's do that. 3 times 10 obviously gives me 30, and 3 times 3 is 9. Bring in my plus. So 6 times 5 gives me 30, and 1 times 5 gives me 5. Now, this is a much easier sum to do. Obviously, if you'd done that as being over 60, you would have ended up with a larger number that you would just have to cancel down later. That's totally fine. So if we add 9 and 5 together, we get 14 over 30. And let's have a look and see if we can cancel that down at all, okay? So the first thing most of you do when you're cancelling down is, can I half it? And yes, you can. Have a crack at that. Let's have a look. So 2 times 7 gives you 14, and half of 30 is 15. Okay, can we make that any smaller again? No, not really. So we've got 7/15. Now, that is how much Mrs. Amatullah and I have picked together. Okay, these two amounts are exactly the same. If you have a look on your fraction wall and you have 14 lots of 30 and 7 lots of 15, it's exactly the same amount, okay? The second part of the question was that Mr. Gale actually needed a full bucket of berries. So what fraction do we need to make a full bucket? If I've got 7/15 and I need a full bucket is 15/15. All right, a full bucket, if we were looking at 60ths, would be 60/60ths. So what part am I missing to make this 15 over 15? Okay, so if I have 15 and I take away 7, I'm left with what? I'm left with 8. I'm left with 8/15. Now, if I add these two together, 7 over 15 plus 8 over 15, I should get 15 over 15 or a full bucket, and Mr. Gale will be happy. Okay, so our first answer to the first part of the question, Mrs. Amatullah and I collected 7/15 of a bucket together, and to make Mr. Gale happy, we need to collect another 8/15.